Hey everybody, welcome to Kyle's Chainsaw Rescue. A little while back we were working on this Stihl MS211. We cleaned it up, got it running well, replaced a few little parts. Since then, this saw has been leaking bar oil. I actually think it has totally just about drained itself dry. Now I'm pretty darn sure that down here on the bottom side, the oil hose will not seat properly anymore. And so what I've done is ordered up a new one, got a few wrenches, and I'm just going to walk you guys through on how to replace the oil line on the Stihl MS211. Before we get into that though, be sure to give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe guys. This channel has been growing in leaps and bounds over the last few weeks, and I really seriously do appreciate it. Also, one other big thing, I'm going to be giving away a Stihl MS170 on my other channel, KyleHallWoodworker. We're trying to get that channel to 30,000 subscribers before the end of December 2023. If we can get 30,000 subs over there, we're going to give away that Stihl MS170 to one lucky winner. So the end of December, we'll figure out, you know, how everybody can have a chance to enter to possibly win it. All right, with that, let's start taking a look at this saw. All right, guys, quick glance at what you'll need. Some needle nose pliers, T25 scrunch, flathead scrunch. Now I've taken this flathead and I've rounded it over so there's no sharp edges and the corners are all rounded for pushing gaskets and seals and gas lines back in place. That's on there backwards. A 8mm deep well socket and your replacement oil line, part number 11396474000. Yeah, with that, let's start getting into it, because we got to remove a lot of stuff to replace this simple little oiler line. Remove that air cover, set that aside, get your air filter off, put everything in a container so you don't lose it. You're gonna need that 8mm socket. Now the fun fact, I shot this video once already, and I shot it in high speed, so it was going way too fast to show you guys anything. So I pulled the old gas line back out, or the new gas line out, stuck the old one back in, and here we are. Saved those nuts. This little plastic piece will come off. Grab this wrench. You got 3 screws in here with this cover, as 2 are inside and 1 in the bottom. Remove those. Leaving the 2 screws right in. Set this aside. Now I'm not going to worry about undoing anything else here. We're going to move on to the 3 bolts or screws that are holding our handle on, because we have to take the whole handle off. You have 1 on top up here by the spark plug, and 1 down here. So we're going to remove the whole cover and bar before we go too much farther to get that out of our way. All right, so we got a screw here, 1 on top. When you hold the saw like this, 1 on the bottom. Not to mention, guys, don't forget to drain your bar oil out before you even start. It can create quite the mess if you don't. Now once you get those screws out, this can be a little finicky. You do have your throttle rod in here, which I just leave it, but it's trying to wiggle the saw around and holding the handle and kind of, you know, pop these springs out of the way from the bottom. Pop these off here. Try to grab the chain brake and sort of wiggle the saw. Now there is one other thing. There's a line here for the vent for the gas tank. So I mean, you can drain your gas tank if you want with all the flipping around. Don't forget to get that line off the little neck down there too, because that'll restrict what you're trying to do. Sometimes these guys just pop right off for me, and then other days they're a pain in the butt. There we go. So it's kind of over and down. Push back. This just goes on by your bar, so that's no big deal. Now, the rest of the work that we have is down here on the bottom side, which, keep in mind, right, carburetors here and all this stuff. I'm already getting dust in mine, so I'm going to lay a rag down. Here is our oil line. Again, got to remove that handle to get to it. You can get in here and just carefully work it out. Don't have to be super careful, right? It's already got a leak or it's not going to seat in properly. But at the same time, I don't want to rip it if I don't have to and make a bunch of little pieces. So using the screwdriver to pry it out. Pull carefully. Now I already know this oil filter is new. I believe I put it on when I did the work in the other video. So we're going to remove that from this existing line. Sometimes these pliers work a little better. Take our new line, put our filter on there. Now you'll see a flat spot. That should be facing into the bottom of the motor. So you fish your line in. And when you do this, all right, you're trying to kind of just line it up with the hole. This is where that rounded screwdriver is going to help a lot. So you could try not to puncture your new line. But I kind of work that rubber piece down. I know it's not a super close shot for you guys. I'll try to zoom it in, but this is one of those things that'll make sense if you get into it yourself. There it is. So this part's pressed in place. Now when I'm looking at the other line, the flat side is touching the plastic and it rounds out toward me. So what I do is I push on the corner of the hose, I push it down so the flat part tips down, and I try to get that part started in the hole, and then start working this other part that's bubbled out in the hole. And I'll use that rounded screwdriver and kind of mash it in there, applying pressure with my finger. Now there's probably a little bit better way to do this, but this is the way I end up doing it. Just work that thing in place. Again, if you're using a pointy screwdriver, you run the risk of rupturing the rubber hose and stuff, okay? Once it gets started, kind of work your way around. Move it around, get it to sit in place. A little too far, we'll move it back some. Make sure the backs are all in. All right, and that's it. My oil line is in and done. Now time to reassemble. Handle again, and we're just gonna slip the saw right back through. Now there is a little knob right here down inside. You'll see it sticking out. There's a hole right here. Got to mate those together, all right? If you don't, things just will not line up. Don't forget to move that breather line in place the best that you can. And just, you know, have some patience. A little bit of finagling. Sometimes you got to move her around and see where the springs are in the bottom, because they're going to want to push and move things out of the way. And then there's days when you do this and everything goes together. But you know what I'm forgetting? That throttle linkage. So the biggest thing I'm fighting right now is the piece I forgot about right here. This throttle linkage has to go up inside this hole that's up in this plastic piece. So in order to get it there, you have to start in the right spot. Otherwise you end up like I am, and now I gotta struggle with this a little bit. Down and away. Alright, so move this spring, throttle linkage. A lot of moving parts here to try and I know there's another tech watching it. He's like, oh my gosh, there's an easier way to do this. Alright, so throttle linkage is in the hole. Hopefully it'll stay there. Alright. just moving the spring on the bottom here a little bit because that's giving me some funkiness. Now we're trying to mate up that little knob on the bottom. Once that kind of goes, everything else sort of falls in place. Now before I forget, I'm going to take these long pliers, needle nose pliers, and hook up the vent line back to the tank there on the little nipple that comes off. Otherwise I'll forget. It's time to put those 3 screws back in. Everything's tight, back together, liking it. So the next thing I'm going to do is the box that the filter sits on. I still have those 2 screws left right in the box. I will try to have a link through Amazon down below to have tools or similar tools available. You guys purchase through those links. They'll help support the channel, and I really do appreciate it. We'll also try to have a gas line and basic service kit and stuff like that as well, or basic service items as air filters and spark plugs and those sort of things for this particular saw, as long as I can find them. Keep in mind, make sure you guys read descriptions, because sometimes those listings change, and you don't want to base it just off my link, because sometimes Amazon changes it and then it's not what I said it was. It changes. Just changes, you know. Put that little black piece on. 8mm socket. Everything goes. Obviously the video might be a little bit longer than that, plus trying to explain and, you know, show you guys stuff, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad of a job if you have some basic tools, and if you don't, again, I'll have them linked down below. I will say, I like these new filters. I like the way these filters are on the 211. I like them. I like them. I'll just put this cover back on. This cover is a little bit of a pain, though. Still getting used to how it locks in place, but that's good. All right, I'm gonna fire up the saw here, and see how she's oiling. All right, so we got oil coming out. That's all good. As of right now, no leaks, no drips on the bottom here. I'm just kind of, you guys aren't able to see, I guess, but everything seems to be seated in place properly. And now we just got to put that bar on and wrap up the project. Hopefully this video helped you guys out replacing the oil line on your Stihl MS211. This can apply to, you know, a few other saws. It's very similar, same kind of concept. But if I run into it again, different saw, we'll do it again, give you guys a tutorial. Now I do have a playlist going here, work on your own stuff. Might be able to help you out with future stuff if you have an issue or things like that. And yeah, I think, you know, it's been a while since we did a cold start video. Maybe we'll bust out one of these big blue ones. We got the G660 from Halls.rusticcreations. We got a G888 tucked up there in that mess. We're also going to eventually get looking at like maybe this Homelight Super XL and probably this Homelight XL 12. some other saws I got kicking around that need some work. I know I got a Husqvarna over there for a buddy we got to do some work on. But those are some future things. If you guys want to see some of my other stuff, you can check out my other channel, KyleHallWoodworker, where I'm doing some chainsaw carving tutorials and work for customers and stuff like that as well. Again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you later. Bye.